Well, good morning. Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. All right, folks, we knew it was going to happen eventually. It happens to all trucks, regardless of the brand or the age of the truck. A breakdown occurs. Now, this would be my first mechanical breakdown. I've had to get tires and stuff like that. You guys might have mentioned recently sorry, that didn't make any sense. You guys might have heard me mention lately that I had to get 3 tires recently. 2 of them had blown out and one of them was really bad. And I've had a couple of flat repairs and things like that. But this is my first mechanical breakdown with this truck. And so in this video, I'm going to tell you what happened, where I was at, and what the resolution was. It happened on the 4th of February. Today's the 9th of February when I'm recording this video. So I've had it back on the road for 5 days and all the problems seem to be fixed. And like always, when I deal with a TA or a petro shop, there's a little bit of drama that takes place as well. So we'll discuss all that in this video as well. But before we do, give this video a thumbs up, share it on your social media platforms, and make sure you're subscribed. That really helps me out in the YouTube algorithms. And without any further ado, let's kick up the music and get started. Here we go.
This is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round. For my family and for my kids, for this life I wanna live. And this is why I do this.
Alrighty, we're back. Here in just a second, I'm going to show you the receipt so you can see everything they charged me for and how we got there. Let me tell you what happened. So I picked up a load in Denton, Texas, going to Auburndale, Florida, which is a word I always have trouble saying, Auburndale, Florida. And it was a decent load, but anyway, I'm cruising along. I'm stopping in Terrell, Texas to get diesel at that TA there. I get just a couple of miles away and I start having a low coolant light come on. So I pulled over. There's some steam, some leaking. I fill the coolant tank again and I try to limp it easily, doing like 50 miles an hour to the TA, making sure my temperature's in check, all of that. By the time I get to the TA, there's tons of steam. I pull in the fuel island, so there's a lot of light so I can see what's going on. And I try to find the leak. And I can't see it. I'm climbing under the truck trying to see it and can't find it. So I go over to the shop. They say that it's going to be about an hour before they can get me in. And so I sit out there and let the truck cool off, and then we pull it into the shop. So let me show you the coolant line first, and then we'll come back. Hang on, let me show you the coolant line. Alrighty, let's zoom in here and see. Right there, if you look right in the middle of that circle, there's a black line that has detached to a plastic fitting that is just to the right of that black line. It's under that big aluminum line there. Hopefully you can see it. That's where all the problem was coming from. There's 2 other lines that look similar to that. That's part of what we replaced there. Okay, so they bring it in, and after looking it over, like you just saw in the picture, they saw that it was a coolant line, a DEF coolant line. And they tell me it's going to be in the morning before we get parts. I say, hey, can I sleep in the truck or do I have to get a hotel? The mechanic, super nice guy, says, yeah, you can sleep in the truck. I said, well, my concern is, since I can't idle, the batteries will go dead after about 5 or 6 hours. I've got a large refrigerator. I mean, there's a lot of electronics in the truck. I run a CPAP machine. I really need to be hooked to the battery charger. He says, no problem, I'll hook you to the battery charger. I said, what's that going to cost me? He said, oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. Okay. Go to sleep. Wake up about 3 hours later, and my CPAP is shut off. Get out, realize they have turned off the battery charger, and my step down thing on my truck had killed the power to the CPAP machine because the batteries were low. I told him, I said, hey, I remember I told you it has to be on the charger or the batteries are going to go dead. He says, yeah, they turned it off. I'll turn it back on. So he turned it back on. I went to sleep. A couple hours later, CPAP died again. Got up, went out there. This time the charger was on, but for some reason the charger shuts off when it thinks the battery's full. And so my only thoughts on this is maybe the charger is charging the battery up to full and then turning off as a safety deal, and the battery itself is not discharging as fast. So I'm getting about 2 or 3 hours before it has the battery fully charged. So I didn't get a great night's sleep that night because of that. I was constantly being woke up. And so anyway, get up the next morning, and they get the estimate done. They get the parts on their way, and they get it finished probably about 3 o'clock that afternoon. Go to pay out, and they've put a jump start charge on there. Now, probably 10 minutes before that, I had seen the mechanic out there with some jumper cables. I didn't think nothing of it because it'd been on a battery charger all night. And so I come in, and they say, hey, we've got this charge, $57.99 for jumping you off. And originally they were going to charge me for charging the battery all night too. I think it was $70-something an hour. And I pitched such a fit about that, they took that off. It doesn't even show it on the receipt. And you'll see that here in just a second. So we get to arguing about this jump start fee. I said, hey, it was on a battery charger. How could the battery have been dead? It's been here 18 hours on a battery charger. Well, I don't know, but it's just a deal. If we have to jump you off, that's what we charge. I said, well, I'm not paying it because we had a deal that we weren't going to charge me for that. And so the supervisor's like, yeah, there's just nothing I can do. Well, while we're in the midst of this arguing, the mechanic from the night before shows up. And I said, well, there's the guy from last night. Ask him. He says, yeah, I told Todd we weren't going to charge him, that we'd just charge it overnight. And the battery shouldn't have been dead. And so the supervisor reluctantly agreed to not charge me for that. But this is the scam that, or one of the many scams that truck stops do, and not just truck stops, shops in general. The truck was there for 18 hours, actually closer to about 20 hours. And so it's reasonable to expect the batteries to discharge during that time, even if you're not on a charger. If you're on a charger, it's not reasonable to expect them to be dead. So, you know, in a situation like that, they need to either turn off a battery disconnect if a truck has it, or they need to disconnect the batteries or do something so that they're not just racking up another charge. Of course, they're not going to do that because that doesn't behoove them, that doesn't benefit them, and they're all paid off of flag hours, commission style pay. So they're wanting to rack up as much time as they could. Fortunately, that night mechanic, when he came in, was an honorable guy that told him, yeah, hey, I told Todd we weren't going to charge him for that. So you'll see in this receipt I'm about to show you where they credit me that back. But it seems like there's a lot of ethical issues every time I deal with TA and Petro. And I actually prefer their shops over like Love's or something, but they I have a lot more problems with them than I do with Love's. And so it's just Love's seems limited to all they seem to be able to do is oil changes and tires. But Love's seems a lot more ethical and honorable than what TA and Petro are. And I've done videos about them in the past. I had troubles with them at the Weatherford location when I worked at Roadrunner. There's videos about that. And I've got the number to several people at corporate TA, and they've told me if I ever have troubles with another shop to call them and they'll take care of it. This did not rise to that level because the shop took care of it. But boy, I was. Alrighty, so here we are with the receipt. If you want to see it close, the details yourself, feel free to pause the video and zoom in. I'm just going to give you the information that I have here. They don't have this stuff in chronological order, obviously. First thing they show on there is a coolant drain and refill for $269.99. That includes up to 12 gallons of the 50/50 Delvac antifreeze. We'll see in the report that they put 11 gallons in it. They also charge me for a parts run of $106.94, which I think that's crazy, but what can you do? I seem to remember that TA and Petro were supposed to be Freightliner authorized service centers, so you'd think they would carry DEF lines and things like that in stock, but they obviously don't. Two of the coolant lines here are listed, $114.74 and another one for $126.89. I'll skip down and get the other one just for simplicity. It was $85.04. So you've got about $300 worth of DEF lines. Another ridiculous charge, $4.99 for a zip tie. That sounds a little crazy. And shoot, I had some zip ties. I'd have gave them one if they'd have told me. And coolant system pressure test, $57.99. And here's the point of contention. They wanted to charge me for a jump start, and I've already told you the story behind that. They do credit me this back, $58.99 for that. And then they have the environmental shop supply fee, $30. I've always thought that was a bogus charge, but every shop does it. And they charge 3 hours of shop labor at $142.99 an hour for a total of $428.97. Now, if we go to the next page, and if you'll look down at the bottom, you're going to see that parts is $340.49, labor's $777.01, and what they call as oil is actually antifreeze of $167.04, for a total of $1284.54. They're going to credit me back for that jump start and everything, and it works out to a credit of $88.99 for a net of $1195.55. The non-taxable portion of this receipt is $683.02. The taxable portion of this receipt is $512.53, and the actual taxes that were accrued on this deal was $42.28. Makes my grand total $1,237.83, $1,237.83. Alrighty, we're back. So you see the receipt. Anytime you're dealing with coolant, there's always a fear that you could blow a head gasket, you could warp a head, damage the engine. So I was really careful with it, and that's why I waited a few days to shoot this video, make sure everything was good. The truck is running great. Something weird you guys are going to make fun of me for. The truck is actually getting better fuel economy now. And I know you're going to tell me that's unrelated. It shouldn't have any effect on it. And I agree with you. The only thing I can think is maybe the after treatment system is operating more optimally now, and maybe that's affecting fuel economy. But I seem to be getting about 3/4 of a gallon to a mile per gallon better fuel economy, and I'm not sure what the cause of that is, but I'll take it. And now that 5 days has passed by, I'm not as riled up as I was at that TA for trying to pull some fast ones. But it's just a shame that that's what the world is coming to. As the economy, as we all wait for the economy to improve, some people just still feel like they got to do dishonest things to get ahead. And it's a shame. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. I'll be back in a couple of days with another video. Y'all take care, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.